Welcome to JMC vLearning. Today we are going to discuss our lesson 6, unit 6, that is SME as a backbone of an economy. So SME, the acronym that stands for small and medium enterprises, right? Small and medium enterprises. So here basically in this lesson we are going to study what is an SME. What you understand by SME? Okay, and mainly, okay, why SMEs, small and medium enterprises, are important for an economy. Okay, what kind of a contribution they are giving to the economy, right? And why most of the SMEs fell in the economy, right? So those are the main areas that we discuss in this lesson. Okay, so with this understanding, we'll move to the learning objectives. So before that I have to tell you, so not like the other lessons that we have studied so far, so this lesson is very short, right? So yes, so it has two main learning objectives, right? First one is assess the significance of small and medium to an economy. What kind of a significant, what kind of a contribution is giving SMEs to the economy, right? Right. Next one, explain the ways of enhancing, how we can enhance the performance of SMEs. Okay, so how can we enhance the performance of SMEs to maximize the contribution of SMEs to the economy? So those are the two main learning outcomes of this study. Okay, so with that thing we'll move to the lesson. We'll start the lesson with SME, right? So classification of enterprises. Now so far you have studied business organizations, so we also call as enterprises, right? So these enterprises, we can classify them, right? Some enterprises are very large, right? Okay, so medium enterprise, so large enterprises, right? So some organizations, okay, so all the business organizations that we study, we can classify based on their size or based on their operations, right? So some organizations we used to say they are large organizations. Okay, so how can we define, how can we say that they are so large, right? So we look at the number of employees, right? If the number of employees working there is so large, we say it's a large company. Okay, so the number of products that they produce, okay, the number of physical resources that they have, okay, so based on those criteria we say it's a large company, right? Okay, so but for certain companies, for certain enterprises, we used to say they are small, right? So why do we say it's a small company? So based on its size, right? What kind of the sales revenue that they make, the number of employees that they occupy, right? So by looking at those criteria, we say they are small, right? So in business organization, they can be either large, right? They can be either large or they can be small, right? So it can be either large or it can be small, right? However, these enterprises, okay, they can be, enterprises can range within, if we take the small and large enterprises in a continuum, they can, some other organizations can be within this continuum. They are not that large, not that small, okay, not that large, not that small, right? So we say that's medium size, okay? The number of employees, number of sales revenue that they make, not that large, not that small, it's medium, right? But if it is very small, right, it can be a micro enterprise or it can be a small enterprise, right? So likewise, there are micro enterprises, there are small enterprises, or there can be medium enterprises, right? Okay. So that the type of the enterprise whether it is micro, small or medium, that depends on number of criteria. Okay, so we'll go to the next slide. Right, so SMEs. So how can we define SMEs, small and medium enterprises, right? So this definition, that differs, there is no such definition. But first of all, I have to tell you like that. Okay, there is no proper definition for small and medium enterprises. Okay, different countries, they identify small and medium enterprises in different ways. Okay, so in order to provide you evidence, okay, I have mentioned you some countries, right? Singapore. Okay, so their definition, please look at their definition. Companies with less than 100 million in annual turnover. Annual turnover, if it is less than 100 million, that's a SME. Plus companies with less than 200 employees. So that is the SME. So the country Singapore identifies if it needs to be an SME, it should fall into this criteria, right? Okay, Malaysia. Okay, so Malaysia also have taken, so the Singapore has considered, what are the areas that they have considered? Okay, annual turnover and the number of employees, nothing other than that. Based on the annual turnover and the employees, they have mentioned what is an SME. So annual turnover less than 100 million and the employees less than 200. So that's their criteria for identifying an SME. But that differs from Malaysia. See, they have taken sales turnover. The same thing, sales turnover and the number of full-time employees, right? Full-time employees not exceeding 200. So that's similar with the Singapore. However, the turnover, that's different, right? The turnover is different. That's not exceeding 50 million, right? Malaysia, right? Canada, okay? So they have, so here Malaysia and Singapore, this is the definition for their small and medium enterprises, right? There are small enterprises, medium-sized enterprises, right? Before they convert into large enterprises. So they have considered this definition for both small and medium. But see, Canada, they have identified small business separately and medium businesses separately. In order to be a small business, there should be employees between 5 to 99. 5 to 99, small. Medium size, 100 to 499. That means if there are 500 employees, that's a large company, right? Large enterprise. Okay, so here they have identified separately small business. You don't need to remember these amounts, but what you have to take, you have to take the idea that there is no proper definition. There is no proper definition for SME. That the SME definition differs from country to country. So normally when we identify whether it is a small company or a medium company, okay, so that depends on number of criteria, right? So mainly the countries, they consider the number of employees and the turnover, right? Okay, we'll move to the next slide. Right, now it's about Sri Lanka. So we are worried about Sri Lanka now. So what's our definition, right? What's our definition? Right, so Ministry of Industry and Commerce. Ministry and Industry of Commerce, they have given us, okay, they have given us criteria. They have given us a criteria to understand what is a micro enterprise, what is a small enterprise, and what is a medium enterprise. So based on the size. So this is from small to big, right? Right. So what is for the manufacturing sector, the sector wise they have divided. For the manufacturing sector, So here also the criteria that they have taken is annual turnover and number of employees. Annual turnover and number of employees. If it is in the manufacturing sector, for a medium-sized business, annual turnover should be ₹1,251 into 750 plus number of employees should be 51 to 300. So if both the criteria are fulfilled, that particular organization will fall into the medium-sized organization, right? So small organization, what are the small manufacturing organization? So enterprises between the sales revenue, right? Sales revenue fall for 16 million rupees to 250 and the number of employees 11 to 50, right? So can you understand that the number of employees and the number of the turnover, the value of the turnover is reducing from medium to micro, right? In the micro, number of employees less than 10, micro, very small, right? Number of employees less than 10 and the annual turnover less than 15 million. 15 million, that's a micro. But if the company exceeds 15 million, 16 to 250 and employees between 11 to 50, that's going to be a small, right? But these criteria differ for service sector, okay? So for service sector, in order to be a medium company, turnover should be ₹1,251 to 750 plus number of employees should be 51 to 200, right? So that is for the medium. For the small enterprises, annual turnover should be ₹1,060 to 250 and employees 11 to 50. Next, for the micro, for the service sector, less than the turnover less than 15 million and employees less than 10. So this is the formal classification. Okay, so this is the formal classification to identify what are the micro, what are the small and what are the medium enterprises in Sri Lanka. So this is given by Ministry of Industry and Commerce. Okay, Sri Lanka Export Development Board identified it in a different way. Enterprises fall into SME category if its number of employees does not exceed 300 individuals and its revenue does not exceed 750 million, right? So you can understand from institution to institution that depends, right? That depends. So however, we identify whether it is a micro, small or medium enterprise based on, in Sri Lanka, that's based on the turnover, annual turnover and number of employees, right? Okay, right. Now, these areas are very important for you, okay? Because I want to put the exam mark, the exam star. Why SMEs are important, okay? Why SMEs are, because these areas are highly examinable. Why they are important for us, right? Okay, right. Because SMEs, they create employment opportunities, right? So, in my explanations, in my discussion, I have explained you, okay? So, this SME sector is very, very crucial for Sri Lanka because not like large organizations, right? So, these SMEs, they create a lot of direct and indirect job opportunities, right? So, creation of job opportunities because of the SMEs, okay? Next one, contribute to the gross domestic product of the country, GDP. GDP will increase, okay? So, if there are a lot of small and medium enterprises and they are day by day increasing, then the number of goods and services that they produce also increase, okay? So, the GDP of the country will increase if there are SMEs, right? Okay. Mobilizing domestic savings. What do you mean by mobilizing domestic savings, right? Okay. So, in order to, normally, these small and medium enterprises, they start from the scratch, right? So, normally what the people do is they get their personal savings and invest it as capital, right? Or they borrow money from their friends and families and they invest it. So what will happen because of that? Okay, so because of that, the personal savings, domestic savings will mobilize to one place to make capital of the business, right? So mobilizing domestic savings, okay, the savings will convert into investment that will increase the number of products in the country, okay, right? Okay, so in this slide we have learned because of the SMEs there are a lot of employment opportunities and it will contribute to the GDP and mobilize domestic savings, right? Next one, regional development. Regional development. How the regional development happens because of SMEs? So most of the SMEs, as I told you, they start from the scratch, right? So most of the SMEs, so we can start even in the rural areas, right? Even in the rural areas, they can start business as a small business organization, right? So as it is, for example, think we are starting a factory which is producing yogurt, right? Yogurt in where? Okay, in Vaunia, right? So what will happen because of that? Regional development, right? So because of that, sometimes the people in that, the livelihood of people, okay, in that area will go up, right? Sometimes the infrastructure facilities in that area have to develop because of that company, right? The people who get employment opportunities because of the factory will go up, right? So in that case, not only the development will focus to one central city, okay, but the developments, the positivities of the developments can be spread to the other areas. So the development is balanced, right? Regional development. Next one, income distribution, okay. So that means because of SMEs, okay, so now the other people, right, okay, not like large, no, they can start very small, so they can start earning, right, they can start earning from a very small amount and they can expand their businesses. So those who don't have income sources also, what will happen? They will start earning. So when they start earning, what will happen to the inequality of the income distribution? That gap will reduce, right? That gap will reduce. Okay. Finally, poverty elevation. Okay. When everybody is having job opportunities and the income sources because of the SMEs, what will happen to the poverty? There's no poverty, right? Poverty level will go down. Okay. So everybody is having money, so they have enough purchasing power for their essentials, right? Right. So that is an important of SME. Again, assist big enterprises, isn't it? Right? Now, I told you in the very beginning, the companies, enterprises, they can be big or they can be small, right? So SMEs means they are small and medium enterprises, no, not that big, right? They are not, still they have not converted into large business organizations, okay? So now the large business organizations might hire these companies to assist them, right? For example, we'll take, there's a big company, okay? So in this big company, the canteen is handled by a very small company, right? Sometimes when this big company is having lot of orders, right? This big company might subcontract the small companies, right? So in that way, the small and medium enterprises are assisting the big enterprises, right? Okay, stimulate competition. That means a healthy competition in the industry can be generated because of the SMEs, okay? Now think for the moment, there are no SMEs. Only the large business organizations are there, right? Only the large business organizations are there. So they are very powerful then, okay? They can increase the prices, they can reduce the quality of the product, they can do whatever the thing they want, okay? When the SME is also fighting with them, right? So they have to maintain a healthy competition, right? So they can't increase the price levels as they want because the SMEs are, the other companies are also fighting with them, right? Because if they increase the price levels, the people will automatically turn into the other competitors, right? Okay, so because of that, SMEs will contribute in maintaining or stimulating competition, a healthy competition, right? Okay, favors flexibility and innovation. Okay, how the SMEs favors flexibility and innovation. Now the SMEs, okay, they have to maintain, they have to survive in the industry, right? So you know, the survival is not guaranteed if the business organization cannot do something new, right? So in order to compete with the large organization and become different from large organization, these SMEs, they are trying to do something new, innovations, right? So that's also good for the economy. Okay, so now so far we have studied what is a SME, right? What is a SME and why they are important. Okay, so we have identified in 9 different ways why the SMEs are important, right? Right. Now, understanding why SMEs are important, we are going to look at the SME, small and medium enterprises of the Sri Lanka. Okay, so we are going to look from the Sri Lankan perspective, right? Okay, so when you say the small and medium enterprises, what kind of idea you get? What kind of businesses that come to your mind? Small and medium. The coir industry of Sri Lanka, right? The coir industry. Right? Then coir industry, the weaving industry. Okay, so they all are small and medium enterprises, right? Pottery. Okay, so these are few examples given, right? So apart from these examples, there are a lot, right? There are a lot. There can be very small garment factories even, right? Okay, so many tile factories, garment factories, still they can be small, right? Right. So what about, what's the overall idea, overall picture of the small and medium enterprises? Is it important for the Sri Lanka? Yes. I say you yes, definitely it's yes, because not like the large corporations in Sri Lanka is very few. Most of the Sri Lanka, most of our economies, business organizations are small and medium enterprises, right? Right. So see how much altogether, okay, 75% of all businesses in Sri Lanka, 75%. So only 25% is very small amount is the large corporations. More than 50%, more than half, right? 75% of businesses are SME. Okay. So can you imagine the role that they are playing? Yes. Then 45% of employment. Think how much of contribution they are giving to the employment, right? Then 52% of GDP. More than half of the number of products and services are produced in our country. The contribution is given by SME, right? So in SME, they contribute to the employment significantly, GDP significantly, and the number of businesses in Sri Lanka also very high, the SME businesses, right? Okay, so with that understanding, we'll move to the next one. So, even though, right, even though SMEs are important for our economy and it's playing a great role in the economy, still the SME sector of Sri Lanka is facing number of difficulties, number of barriers, right, number of barriers, challenges, okay, they have hurdles, right? So, what are these hurdles? What are these challenges faced by SMEs, right? Okay, poor management practices. Okay, poor management practices. The owners of these small and medium enterprises, they lack of the management knowledge, right? So as a result, most of the small and business organizations, they fail, right? Right, skill shortages, right? Sometimes they are in difficulties to attract the required skills to perform that area, right? For example, we'll take the choir industry, right? So this choir industry, now we can't find people, those who have with the relevant skill, right? So that's a challenge, right? Because we know there are certain industries, when certain industries are emerging and increasing, some other industries are in the declining stage. Okay, so those industries, they face difficulties to find the required skills, right? Lack of economies of scale. What do you mean by economies of scale? When the organizations become big, okay, their unit cost, okay, unit production cost, that will go down. Right? Unit production cost, that will go down, right? However, can the small businesses reduce their unit price? No, still they can't, because they have not turned out into large corporations. When they become large corporations, sometimes they will buy bulk buying. They do bulk buying, right? Sometimes they can do bulk buying, they will get advantage from technology, employees, everything, right? But as long as we stay small, our unit cost is high, right? Okay. Higher transaction cost relative to large firms. So transaction cost relative, higher cost, okay? So the large corporations, they do bulk buying and they get discounts for that, okay? But still, since we are small, we are not in such a position. Lack of networks. What do you mean by networks? That means the relationships that we keep with other business organizations. So having a very strong network with other business organizations is very important, right? So whenever we need support, they are so helpful for our survival. But since they are very small, so the network, they are not, the time is not that enough for small businesses to create network. Okay, when they become large, then everybody loves to join to that, okay? So the network will be automatically created when someone becomes so large and powerful. So as long as we are so powerless and small, nobody will connect with us. Nobody is going to help us. Nobody is going to give us the opinions, help that we require, okay? So there are problems. Next one, inability to compete against large firms, right? Sometimes because of the large firms, because of the actions of the large firms, okay, the small and medium companies, they have to vanish off, right? Because if the large companies feel these SMEs are giving competition for them, sometimes they will reduce their price levels, okay, reduce their price level, because they can get the economies of scale, no? Right? So that the small companies can't face that competition, right? So likewise, with the large corporations, they can't compete. Okay, sometimes the large corporations, they have access to large improved technology. Okay, they have access to finance, right? But small corporations, they don't have. Okay, so they can't compete with each other because they are not in same size and same power, right? So those are the challenges faced by SMEs in Sri Lanka. Skill shortages, poor management practices, lack of economies of scale, higher transactions cost, lack of networks, inability to compete against large corporations. Now we'll see how to enhance the performance of SMEs, right? Right. Right. Now we know these small and medium enterprises, they play a crucial role to our economy, but still they are facing a lot of challenges, right? So as an economy, okay, as an economy, we have to support them. Okay, we have to support them. So how we can enhance the performance of SME? Okay, so if we enhance the performance of SMEs, then our GDP then will go up, the employment creation will go up. Okay, so there are a lot of positivities. So how to enhance them? Okay, so the first one is creating enabling environment. Okay, creating enabling environment. Okay, so create the environment so favorable for SMEs to come. Okay, so if the rules and regulations are not that tight, okay, if they can find, if they have access to sources of finance, right, for the SMEs, okay, so if they are welcome, okay, so if there is given a place for them, right, so that's called enabling environment. Okay, we have to set up the environment so favorable for them to come and start their business. If the environment itself is creating a lot of barriers, entry barriers for them, so they won't come, right? So first thing is we have to create an enabling environment, right? Okay, next one, modern and appropriate technology. Okay, so if they use modern and appropriate technology, okay, then they can compete with large corporations. They can increase their efficiency, performance, everything will go up, right? Their unit cost will go down and then can compete with large corporations. Entrepreneurial culture and skill development. Okay, so entrepreneurial culture. So you will learn about entrepreneurship in the next lesson. Okay, so before that I will tell you entrepreneurship means that's a special skill, right? That's a special thing, right? That means the ability to identify the gap in the market and producing something new to address the gap in the market. Okay, so for that we have to, in order to be an entrepreneur is a different from a manager, right? So entrepreneur is a different person, right? So he is chasing a dream, right? So in order to increase the entrepreneurs of the economy, we have to give them the proper skills needed to run a business, right? So if the entrepreneurs of the economy is going up, then the number of SMEs will also go up, right? Because most of the businesses, they start from the scratch and start from the small and grow big, right? So we have to uplift the entrepreneurial culture and the skill development. Not only the knowledge required, but also in order to run a business, there are different skills that we have to sharpen, right? Right. Access to finance. Okay, one of the main hurdle of SME is to access to finance. Since they are small, okay, nobody is willing to support them, even the banks, right? So because they don't have enough time to show their business performance. Okay, now for the time being they are very small. Okay, so even though they wish to expand their business operations, so they don't have finance for that, right? They don't have finance. So if they have enough finance, then definitely they can increase their performance, right? Research and development, right? So the research and development, what is the ultimate focus of the research and development? To coming up with something new, okay, finding something new, right? Going for innovations. So if there is research and development, then we can improve the performance of SMEs because they are trying to do something new, right? Market facilitation. Okay, sometimes they find difficulties in finding the proper market to sell their product. Okay, so if they have access to the market they wish to provide their goods, then we can enhance their performance. Okay, and the regional balance, right? Right. How the regional balance enhance the performance of SMEs, right? So for example, we'll take most of the resources. If most of the resources are centered in Colombo and few resources are centered in the other areas, then those who are starting business operations in other areas, they have difficulties, right? They don't have access to infrastructure facilities. They don't have access to banking. They don't have access to proper transportation, communication problems. Okay, so if there is proper regional balance, then that will increase the performance of SMEs. Right. Now, why SMEs fail? The other main thing, even though there are a lot of advantages of small and medium enterprises to the Sri Lankan economy, okay, as I told you, they are facing a lot of difficulties. They are facing a lot of difficulties. So, as a result of the challenges that they face, okay, most of the businesses that they start their business operations small, they will fail. Very few will survive, and among that very few enterprises will turn out into large corporations, right? Okay, so reasons for SME failure we can divide into two categories, right? External factors and internal factors, right? So from the external factors, immediate environmental factors and macro environmental factors, okay? Now we'll go and find what are the reasons for SME failure, right? First, the internal factors cause failure of SMEs. Internal factors. That means the constraints that create within the business, not the external factors. Okay, so these drawbacks that's created by within the business, right? This failure is created within the business, right? So what kind of reasons? Lack of managerial skills and insights. The people, those who start the business, even though the idea is good, since they don't have proper management knowledge and skills, that will go down, right? Lack of financial discipline. They don't know how to handle the profit that they earn from the business. Sometimes the owner might use it for the personal use. Okay, the profit that is earned by the business is not reinvested. Okay, it's not properly managed, right? So there are a lot of working capital issues, right? Right? So in that case, in long run, there is a business failure. Inappropriate personal characters. Okay, inappropriate personal characters. Lack of succession planning to carry out the business to the second generation, right? That means we start the business, right? We start the business, but we don't know how to transfer, okay, how to move it to the next generation, second generation, right? So those are the internal factors cause failure of SMEs. Now, immediate environmental factors cause failure of SMEs, right? So lack of coordination between supplier network, okay? So that is also a drawback. If we don't have proper coordination with our suppliers, that will create difficulties for the business. Low service quality, right? Inability to get financial support from the banks, right? Bankruptcy of main customer or supplier, okay? So those are not that internal or not internal. They are external factors creating the difficulties for the business, but still it is immediate environment factors, right? Right. Right. Macro environmental factors cause failure. So you know in the macro environment there are political, economical, social, technological, right? Those factors. So if those factors are unfavorable for the business, then obviously that's gonna be a problem for the business and the business gonna fail in future, right? So changes in political and legal environment, okay? Right. Okay, so that is the end of the SME lesson, right? So what we studied in this lesson? So first we studied what is an SME, right? What is an SME? So there we identified SMEs are different, okay? The definition, how we define SME differs from country to country, right? However, there are different aspects that we give attention to identify SMEs. So we think about turnover, we think about employees. So based on that, we try to get an understanding whether it is a small enterprise or medium enterprise or large, okay? So that depends on different criteria. So thereafter we looked at the SME sector in the Sri Lanka, right? SME sector in the Sri Lanka. Then why these SMEs are important for the economy? This is very important question, right? And what are the drawbacks? What are the challenges faced by SMEs? And why SMEs fail, right? Very few main areas to be studied in this lesson, right? However, one question is always coming from this section, right? Very important, but still a very small area, right? So now shall we move to the past papers? Yes, right. Starting from the 2024 January, consider the following statements, right? Consider the following statements. There are 3 statements given for you: creating employment opportunities, contributing to the GDP, then represents major part of the export market. Okay, of the above, the importance of SME are the above importance of SME are A and B only, A and C only, B and C only, right? All of the above. Okay, creating employment opportunities, contributing to the GDP of the country. Okay, so this is the A and B, right? Right. 2023 July, consider the following major intervention policies set out by the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, enabling environment, modern and appropriate technology, access to finance. Of the above policy that enhance the performance of SME in Sri Lanka are all of the above. Okay, so we have to enable the environment, technology is needed, access to finance, everything will enhance the performance of SME, right? Right, next one, again MCQ. Consider the following statements: contributes to the GDP, lack of continuity, generates employment opportunities, help to alleviate poverty. So these 3 are advantages, right? Right, we'll see advantages of SMEs, these 3. Of the above, the importances of SMEs are given in A and B only, right? A and B only. That's wrong, no? Right? A, B and C. A, B and C. No. A, C and D. Okay? A, C and D. Right? Next one. Which one of the following is an internal factor that contributes to the failure of an SME? Right? Can you remember the factors cause failure? Factors cause failure. Failure for SME we studied in 2 angles, right? We classified into 2, right? Internal factors and external factors. Internal factors, right? That means the factors within the business itself creating difficulties. Okay? Inability to get financial support from banks, bankruptcy of main supplier, they are external, right? They are external. Lack of managerial skills and change in the government policies, these are external. So lack of managerial skills and insights is internal. Next one, again we have MCQs, right? Which one of the following is a challenge faced by SME in Sri Lanka, right? Poor management practices, lack of economies of scale, skill shortage, all of the above, right? Which one of the following is not a way of enhancing the performance of SME, right? Modern technology, yes we can enhance. Entrepreneurial culture, yes we can. Access to finance, yes we can. Poor leadership is not, right? Right, 2021 January. Which one of the following is a reason for the failure of SME? Okay, lack of managerial skills, developing the investment in research and sound working capital management, they will increase the performance. This will cause failure, right? So that is the end of our discussion, right? So we have studied the whole SME lesson, right? And thereafter we have discussed, okay, all the recent past papers. So in the recent past papers, okay, you can identify they have focused, okay, certain areas, right? Certain areas, and these questions are repeated. Okay, so if you go through the past paper questions, then you can identify a pattern, right? Okay, so most of the areas that they consider is why SMEs are important to a economy, right? What is the contribution to the economy? Why SMEs are failed, right? What are the internal causes? What are the external causes of failure, right? So those are the main areas that are examinable. Okay, so we'll meet in another lesson, right? Thank you.